Welcome! You've just stepped into the exam room, the papers are secure, and you've got a hall full of students who are really counting on you. So let's dive right into your essential guide for making sure this exam session for 2025 to 2026 runs absolutely flawlessly.
Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's just lock in on the mission. At its heart, your job is all about one thing: fairness. You're there to create this controlled space where every single candidate gets a level playing field to show what they can do. Everything, and I mean everything we're going to cover today, flows from that one simple principle. So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through 5 key phases of your job. We'll start with the crucial checks you have to make before anyone even picks up a pen, and we'll go all the way to securely collecting those scripts after the very last second has ticked by. This is your roadmap for the whole session. First up, pre-exam checks. You really need to think of these as your first line of defense against any mix-ups. I promise you, getting this part right will prevent a ton of headaches later on. Now, the most important check you'll do is the second pair of eyes check. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's all about using your eyes and your ears. So one of you reads the details on the packet out loud, and the other person just listens and confirms. It works so well because hearing it said out loud forces your brain to process the information in a totally different way, catching little mistakes your eyes might just skate right over. And here we have a really important update for 2025-26. Listen up for this one. In the past, you might have done this check in the exam hall itself, but now if you need to split a packet of papers, say for students in different rooms or with special arrangements, that check has to happen back in the secure room before you hand anything out. Simple rule to remember: if you split the packet, the check stays in the secure room. All right, so the papers are all checked and correct. Let's move on to phase 2, starting the examination. This is where you really set the stage and lay down the law for everyone in that room. You're going to have a script to read from, but think of these as the greatest hits. You absolutely have to give one final, super clear warning about mobile phones and watches. You've got to stress the black ink rule, make sure they know to fill in their details correctly, and of course the big one: total silence. Getting these announcements out clearly and confidently just leaves no room for confusion. Here's another key update, and this one is all about accessibility. The new regulations specifically say you have to be mindful that some candidates might need the announcement in a different format, or maybe they just need to hear it again. It seems like a small tweak in the wording, but it's actually a huge step in making sure every single candidate really understands the instructions. Okay, let's talk tech for a second. For any students using a word processor, the rules have gotten a bit tighter. Things like standard formatting or an approved spell checker, usually fine. But that banned list is no joke. Predictive text is out, language translators are a definite no. And here's the brand new one for this year: a total ban on any AI tools. The big takeaway for you is to make sure any device being used is completely free of that stuff. So the clock has started and the exam is underway. Your role now shifts. You're no longer an announcer. You're a supervisor. This part is all about protecting the integrity of the exam, from that first minute to the very last. You know, the official guidance couldn't be any clearer. This quote right here from the JCQ is the absolute gold standard. And when they say complete attention, they mean it. That means no marking other work, no reading a book, and definitely no scrolling on your phone. Your focus has to be 100% on those candidates. So what does complete attention actually look like? Well, it means you're an active presence. You're moving around the room, quietly, changing up your path, just being observant. Honestly, your presence is the single biggest deterrent to any kind of malpractice. And if anything at all happens, a student feels sick, or you think someone might be trying to communicate, you write this down immediately on the incident log. Trust me, no detail is too small. And that brings us perfectly into our next section: what you do when things don't go exactly to plan. Think of this as your official playbook for handling the most common incidents. This is probably one of the most common things you'll face. You know the scene. A panicked student rushes in after the exam has already started. So what do you do? What's the official procedure? First, we've got to be clear on the terminology. There's late, and then there's very late. A very late arrival is really specific. It's any candidate who shows up more than 1 hour after the official start time. That 1 hour mark is the magic number that triggers a whole special process.
Okay, so the procedure is a straightforward four-step plan. 1, you let them in and you give them the full amount of time for the exam. 2, you have to warn them that the awarding body might not accept their script. 3, their paper gets sent for marking just like everyone else's. And 4, you have to go online and fill out the very late arrival form. Look, the final decision is up to the awarding body. Your job is just to follow these steps perfectly. All right, now for the big one. Your eyes are scanning the room and you see something that just doesn't feel right. Maybe a student keeps looking at their watch, or you see a flash of hidden notes. What do you do then? The absolute key here is to stay calm and professional. Step 1 is a direct, clear warning. If you can, you confiscate whatever unauthorized thing they have, that's your evidence. And don't ever hesitate to call for backup from the exams officer. Then you write everything down, the time, where they were sitting, what you saw, what they said, and you report it immediately. Remember, your job isn't to be a judge, it's to be a witness and to follow the protocol to the letter. And that brings us to our final section, ending the exam. You see, a flawless session needs a flawless finish. These last few steps are every bit as important as the first ones. When time is up, your instructions have to be crystal clear. That call to stop writing has to be absolute. And this is crucial. You have to remind them that they are still under exam conditions until they have physically left the room. That means no talking. Then you just guide them through the last bit of admin, check your details on every single page, and tuck any loose sheets safely inside your answer booklet. This is it, the final, vital security check. No one leaves that room until you have collected every single script and question paper. And your best friend in this process is the attendance register. You have to check each script you collect against that register, making absolutely sure the name and the number on the paper match the name and number on your list. Then you put the scripts in the same order as the register. It sounds meticulous, I know, but it guarantees that not a single script goes missing. And that's a wrap. As you're handing that stack of papers over to the exams officer, the last question you should ask yourself is this one. Is every single script secure? Because your care and attention in these final moments, well, that's what protects all those hours of hard work from every student, and it's what truly upholds the value of their qualifications. Thanks so much for your attention and for playing such a vital role in this whole process.